Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to Win with Will. This is going to be my week 6 results from my dividend portfolio journey. Today is Sunday, August 3rd. So, thank you guys for joining me today. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the information. So, who am I and why am I here? For anybody that's new to the channel, I started this channel to document my progress with my dividend portfolio so that you guys can follow along, see the ups and downs of investing, see how things are working for me, which could help you ideally understand things that may potentially be something that would work for you, or to learn from my mistakes and the ups and downs of seeing how things are going for me, especially after a week like last week. So you'll see what I'm talking about in a moment. But also to show my friends and family how simple it is to start investing, to teach my kids financial education, also to help other parents be able to teach their children as well. Sometimes you might not know where to start those conversations, but maybe you can use my channel to be the launching point for you guys. And then also to inspire others. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm not some type of a financial guru or anything like that. I always tell you guys I'm just a regular guy from the south side of Chicago that's just looking to take control of my financial future, and you guys can do the same as well. So let's get into a little bit of the legal things here, which is just basically saying that I'm not a financial advisor. The content that I share here is for entertainment and educational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. Do your own due diligence, folks. And again, especially after the week we had last week, investing involves risk, including the potential loss of capital. So just remember, this is just me documenting my personal journey and showing my experiences to help others be able to see how things are working for me, which could potentially help you make your decisions for yourself in the future. But also remember, I am not a financial advisor. And let's talk about some of my goals here with my portfolio. And again, if you don't have goals, you don't know when you've gotten to where you want to go, right? Imagine a GPS system with no start or end point in your GVS system. It'll just show you all the places that you're going. But if you don't have a destination, it doesn't know how to tell you where to go, and you don't know when you've reached it, right? So my short-term goal is $1,000 per month in dividend income. And have my account at $10,000 plus in my investing account. Midterm goal, $5,000 per month in dividend income, and have that my portfolio up to over $50,000. Long-term goal, $100,000 a year in dividend income, creating a six-figure passive income from my investing. Now, we've all had those times where we had to learn as a kid, right? Where maybe your mom said, "Hey, don't touch this stove, don't touch that iron, it's hot," and you still touch it anyway, and you have to learn from doing, right? So that's kind of how this week has been in the whole investing and stock market world. There was a huge just red sea of red across the board. If you scroll through pretty much all of the major stocks this Friday, including my portfolio, you would have seen that there was some announcements, more updates about tariffs coming back, and job market not being as great as we had hoped for. And so the news of the world has really caused a lot of stocks to drop in value. And it's exactly the same thing that happened with my portfolio. So again, investing is risky, right? So you always want to keep in mind that you don't want to risk anything that you can't afford to lose. But the good news is, in my strategy for investing, again, my number one strategy is building up dividend income. So I still had a solid week of dividend earnings, even though we got crushed in the pricing of the funds across the board. But again, it wasn't just my portfolio. This was the stock market as a whole. But again, this is why we want to always remember that investing does involve risk, especially if I know some people may be pretty new to investing, but if you work with margin accounts, which is where you borrow money to invest, and you have these really big drops in the stock market, it could really cause a lot more problems for you. I'm not working on any margin, so I do have a little bit of ability to have a little more patience with my funds taking dips and having the ability to ride them out until they come back up. Hopefully, as this happened on back in April when Trump had another major announcement about tariffs. Pretty much all of the markets tanked even worse than they did this time, but majority of all of the stocks did rebound. So it's actually right now a very good opportunity if you have not gotten started, with investing and things like that. Because right now, while stocks are down, right, buy low, sell high. So right now we have a lot of on sale, quote unquote, stocks, funds, things like that that you could potentially get involved in. But for people like myself and people that have been involved a lot longer than me, they've probably took some really major hits this week on their overall fund totals. So let's just get right into the actual funds and details. My Tesla fund, TSYY, my first three that I'm going to show are Granite Shares funds, which these are all managed by this company, Granite Shares, and these are all weekly paying dividend funds. TSYY mirrors and follows Tesla. As Tesla goes up and down, this fund will go up and down in the price. So this is one of the lowest weeks that it's ended with since I've been investing with it. Might have been one of the lowest weeks period, because this is not very old of a fund. But the average price closing this week on Friday was $8.30. So way down. I'm down almost 20% on my actual fund price. But even with that being said, still had a pretty solid week with the dividend payout. So we'll see how this goes next week, because this number was already locked in before the big drop in the price on Friday. So I still got paid out 24 cents per share. I have 333 shares now. So I made a total of $79.92 this week for my TSYY fund. And again, for anybody that's new to the channel, I started out my portfolio with $5,000. I do add more funds here and there. So far the amount that I'm up to is $7,470. That's actually out of pocket funds that I've added to the portfolio. All right, my XBTY, this fund follows Bitcoin. As Bitcoin goes up and down, then so does the price of this fund. This one took a dip as well. The fund price $23.38. So it's a negative 6.31% so far overall for this account. And still paid out a good dividend, 47 cents this week, 47 cents. So I made $9.40 this week. NVIDIA fund, NVYY, got 40 shares. This one is the only one that actually went up this week, so it did not take a dip. The current price is $27.12. I'm up 2.01% on this fund. Paid out $20.80 with a 52-cent per share payout this week. So this was one of the few that actually went up a little bit this week. OT, ULTY. This is a Yield Max weekly payer fund. This is a fund that's all about trying to generate weekly income for the investors. It did have a dip as well, not as bad as some of the others, 3.41% down overall. Price of the fund dropped to $6.01 this week, but still paid out is nice, consistent 10 cents. Been paying this 10 cent out pretty much every week for a while now. So I always call this as my steady Eddie fund and my favorite fund, even though it's not the one I have the most in, but it's still my favorite. And I got paid out $34.70 this week. I actually took my profits from last week, my $145, and I bought more shares of OT this week. So I'm up to 347 shares total. And then this week was my payout for Misty, which follows MSTR stock. And this one is a monthly payer. So this is my only monthly. And MSTR is one of these companies. They're highly invested in Bitcoin. And as Bitcoin goes up and down, so does the fund of MSTR. And this one took a really big hit this week as well, dropping down 17.46% overall, based off the price dropping to $17.87, whereas my average share price was $21.65. So really big loss here, really big loss on the Tesla fund, and the dividend payout went down from last month as well. So this month it paid out $1.18, and so yeah, I'm not anytime soon going to be buying more shares of MSTY. I may potentially jump into other monthly pairs, but MSTY is going to probably be just sitting in a holding pattern for a good while. But they did pay me out $59 this week, and this will actually have two payouts this month because it's every 4 weeks for the payouts. So total earnings for my dividends this week, $203.82. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. And if we look at my totals so far since I've started, I'm up $869.21 for dividend earnings, which based off the amount that I've invested have gotten me 11.64% up from the time that I started. So up 11.64% on the dividend earnings, but everything is not all rainbows because I'm down on the fund pricing. So total invested into my funds is about $8,243, and the fund value right now is only $7,295. So I'm down almost $950 because of all of the big losses for this week. Tesla's been down for a little while, so this is just down more than all of the others, but a lot of the others have been holding pretty well. But again, everybody got killed this week in the stock market for the most part, and so I'm down $948. So this is actually the first time that my actual fund amount, when you factor the amount of gain or loss in the fund, and you factor in the amount of gain for the dividends, I'm actually still down overall at this point. So I'm not like superly concerned or feeling like the sky is falling. But again, people that invest on margins and things like that, the overall fund is way more important, because once you hit certain lows in your account with the overall fund value, it can cause the broker to sell off some of your shares and things like that. I do have the ability to ride out the wave, but actually I'm not going to just be riding it out. I'm actually going to be purchasing more shares while the prices are down. I'm not buying more MSTY, but some of these others I'll likely be buying more shares this week. I'm also going to still continue to reinvest the earnings, so I'll have $203 to play with to buy more shares. I'm not exactly sure which funds I'm going to go with. I've been focusing more energy right now on OT, but we'll see. We'll see. So next week we'll have an update to see what I did with my earnings from this week, as well as when I add more funds to the overall account. Because right now, in my opinion, to be honest, it's actually a really good time to buy, to catch these prices while they are low. Now, again, we don't know if these are going to drop even more, right? So you have to do your own due diligence and things like that, because you don't know. Even though it may appear to be a good time to buy, we could still have even more lows than we have now. So if you enjoy this content, guys, I like to keep these weekly update videos on the shorter side. Sometimes I'll have a little bit longer, more in-depth videos throughout the week. But please, please, please like, share, comment, subscribe. I do reply and get back to everyone who comments on my videos. So if you have any questions, if you like to just let me know what you're investing in, how things are going for you, any advice for myself and the community, or even if it's just to share an encouraging word, please, please, please don't forget to like, share. And then again, if you comment, I do reply to everyone. But more importantly, subscribe to the channel to help my channel grow. I really appreciate it when you guys do that. It does help us get this out to more and more people. So, as I said, right now, even though we've got like the red wedding going on here, if you look at the stock market and all of the red charts, I buy low, sell high. Do what the average person do the opposite of what the average person is doing to usually get yourself better results than the average person. So when people are afraid, selling, dumping everything, trying to get out, this is when all of the big time people are getting in, buying more and more, catching things on sale to ride the wave back up as they go. But again, not financial advice, just telling you what I'm going to be doing. And the man himself, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Warren Buffett, I like to leave you guys on a quote. Invest in as much of yourself as you can. You are your own biggest asset by far. So your financial education, your overall education, doing your due diligence, learning, YouTube University. I know, it's funny when we think about from in the past to now, how much information and things you can really learn off of YouTube by finding people's channels, finding people that you trust and like, and following myself and others. So invest in yourself, okay? Because you are your biggest asset, whatever that means for you. And again, thank you guys so much for being with me. I will have a couple of videos here at the end showing my last week's results, as well as you can go back into my deep dive video the last time that I did it, going more into details into the stocks that I own and why I picked them. But other than that, you guys have an excellent rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye now.